Hello and welcome to Kudrick Farms. We're back with another episode of Taheton County, and today we are going to be doing some spraying. But before we get into that, I want to come out here and check out our new Rowcrop crops, see how they look with a little bit higher crop here. They're crooked and overlapping and everything looks pretty good. I like it. Very realistic, although I can now see just how big of a spot we've missed in the corners of the field here. That's unfortunate, but that's course play, and I'll take that over having to do all the planting ourselves. Let's head over here and check out what the soybeans are going to look like. Now, this area here is where the planter planted with the full hoppers before we edited the mod. I'm surprised to not see more soybeans here, actually. It looks like it didn't work at all, so definitely gonna need to get that mod edited to use it here. Just kind of weird how that works. And then looking at our angled rows here with the soybeans, they don't look nearly as clean as the corn rows did. They're very thick here. However, I'm still impressed with this mod and the ability to have all these different rows. And we do need to work on our end rows a bit, making sure that we get to the end row with our planter. All kinds of little things, but I think things are looking pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's a lot of fun. So I'm glad we're giving this a full try and playing around with it. Let's go ahead and get ready for our spraying. As you can see here on the map, the fields that we plowed, we did pretty good, except in the corners here we got a little bit that we missed. I'm not going to bother going out and spraying field 144 though. It looks like it's just these small fields that we didn't hit with tillage that we're going to need to come out and hit with the sprayer. I think there's a couple of corn fields and a couple of soybean fields. There's at least a mix. We're going to hit all of those. And let's get some herbicide purchased here. Now, I think our sprayer is going to hold about 5,000 liters of herbicide, maybe just a little bit less than that when I did the calculation. So we're going to go ahead and get this. I don't want to have a lot left in the storage, so we're only going to get 5,000 because whatever I spray, I should be able to get the rest of it out of here. And I really want to probably move or get a new mod for this storage system. So that's kind of where my head is at on this. So we'll just get the 5,000. It's 6,000 bucks. It's not a big deal. And we'll go ahead and get this sprayer going. Now, if we go ahead and get this thing turned around, hopefully we're going to be able to fill the sprayer up without any problems. I know I had a lot of problems with our planter. However, I think the sprayer, as long as I load on the left-hand side, is going to work pretty well. That's what I remember from the previous time here. So let's see if I can find the zone. There it is. No big deal. And it's 1,320 gallons of spray. Luckily, Unit Convert is working on this pop-up, so I'll be able to see how much we're going to need or have left over, I should say. We got 1,244 there, so we've got less than 100 gallons left in the storage bins here, which is great. I'm sure we'll use at least that much up doing all the spraying. And I think we'll go ahead and jump out here and start with our cornfield first. I'm trying to think of the best way to go through all this. We're going to start with the corn first, I think. And we'll check out these headlands. We've got the sprayer set up to be the same width as 2 planter passes, and I'm a little bit off center here. I'm a little too close to the fence. I'm probably going to need to back up here, but one of the things that I've tried really hard to do on this playthrough, since we are doing the row crop and how wide things are going to be really obvious, is make sure that all of our equipment matches up in a realistic way. And so for this, our sprayer is the same width as 2 planter passes. Our combines are going to have headers that are 12-row headers. It'll be 2 headers will match up with the 24-row sprayer and all that good stuff. So I'm going to try and get myself lined up here, and on the rows, we're right in the middle of the 2 rows. It looks like we're straddling everything pretty perfectly. I'm liking this. Everything lines up like it should, which is exactly what I'd expect. And the only thing that's not lining up is our rows. So you can see our center row got a little bit wider there because we did not know how to plant straight. I'm going to go ahead and take this right up to the pole here, and then we'll back up and I think do all the headland passes here. We should have a double headland all the way around this side of the field, and we'll just take this out real quick. It's getting kind of bouncy in here. This sprayer is well known for being a little bit tippy. And man, look at some of these rows. We've got just huge gaps. We did not do the best job, especially on our second headland pass there. Look at how crooked that is. It just kind of weaves in and out a whole way down the field. It's very unfortunate, but we got it done. We got it planted. And coming down to the skinny rows down here, I kind of expected this to look like a little bit more of a mess than it is. We have definitely some overlapped rows, but there was no way we were really going to get around that with the way that the ground is down here. And so I think we're going to be able to just tackle this in one round real quick, get all of the stuff sprayed down here, and then the rest of the field is going to be a piece of cake. And then as we come around this side, I think what I'll do is just follow this headland pass on the outside here all the way around, even if it means we're overlapping parts of the field that we've already sprayed. It's not a big deal. Precision farming's got us covered here. And man, I'm just looking up ahead here. Our headland rows are just so crooked. It's the little things like this, it's realistic, but it's also going to drive me nuts looking at how crooked everything is all the time. Hopefully I can adjust to it and it won't irk me the entire time, but man, we're going to have to learn how to drive a little bit better, because having these headland rows that weave in and out like this between each other is very distracting. Not good for my mental stability here, but we'll work on that in future seasons most likely. And yeah, I think what we need to do now is figure out if I can get the GPS set up and we can tackle these up-down rows. There's not a lot left to this field, so if I can get a good GPS track figured out. But because we didn't do that on the first run up, now I have to count rows, because it looks like I did a good enough job of getting things more or less aligned that I'm not sure where my rows are here. I think this is the right spot. It's kind of hard to tell. We'll get everything lined up, and like I said, using the new enhanced vehicle mod here has gotten a lot easier. So I've got the keyboard commands down now that I can just press the Control 1, Control 2 to set my size, and then set my direction. I need to get lined up just a little bit better here, though, because I think I've got a fairly fine-tuned amount of degrees on how this thing will lock on, and then we can just get moving and hit our up-down rows. Yeah, it's looking good, and we've got spot spraying on this sprayer, so we're only using up spray when we need to, which in this particular field we're not using a lot of spray. We're going to have quite a bit of herbicide left over when we're all done with this. I know I said that I thought we'd get through 100 gallons no problem, but we have not used hardly any spray yet on this field, and we're going to have to really think that through as we keep moving here. But I'm not too worried about it. I'd rather have more product than less, so we'll tackle the rest of these rows. Trying to get used to how wide this implement is. Sometimes it's a little easier, though, to see where the spread is. We're starting to get off a few rows as we work our way down the field, though, and that's natural because I did such a poor job planting that there's bigger gaps in between the rows on each planter pass than there should be. So I'm going to slowly shift a couple of rows the farther down the field we go, which is what it is. We're going to just ignore that, though, and knock this field out real quick here. So it looks like we're done with this field now, this last little bit. I think what we're going to do is just immediately jump over into this soybean field to our left. I know realistically we would probably need to change out the spray types between corn and soybeans, but for better or worse, that's one of the things with Farm Sim where we're just going to blur our vision a little bit and keep going. They've got a general philosophy that herbicide is herbicide, and it doesn't matter what you spray it on, which is what it is. And I'm going to just start by working my way around the headland here. We've only got one headland that we did on this side of the field. I think the other side we've got two because there's a fence, but with the grass area and everything here, I'm not too worried about it. We're going to just run through this. We might have a hard time turning around on our end rows here in hindsight. We may have to think this through a little bit better in the future and make sure that we do 2 passes on the headlands. We'll see how it is during harvest if we have too hard of a time making those turnarounds. And we're definitely going to have to do a better job planting because we got some pretty big bare splotches in the middle of this field that really shouldn't be there. The double rows bug me a lot for whatever reason. I know it's a thing that we really can't get around, but I think what bothers me even more is when I see these huge bare spots in the field where we should have done a better job with the planter. It's the little things like this as we go through our first year here with Rowcrop ready that are really going to irk me. So I apologize in advance. You're going to hear me kind of keep harping on some of these things. But let's see if I can follow the headland around the power pole here. I'm not doing a good job of staying on my rows, but I think we're going to just follow this all the way around and not worry about going all the way up and down those waterways. We'll drive across those waterways a lot like we did when we planted. I think it's going to be easier if we can just tackle the full exterior of the field here and then do our up-down rows. With the sprayer being so large, twice as large as our planter, this is going to go really fast because not only are we twice as wide, but we're going probably more than twice as fast. I think the planter was going at 9 miles an hour, and I'm spraying here at 20. So we're knocking out the acres here really quickly, and we did a decent job up here in the corner. It looks like our rows are a little askew. You see all these like little double rows right next to each other. I think that's where we were driving right on the edge of where FarmSim can register a plant. And so there's a lot of that going on, but by and large, I have to say I've been fairly impressed with what the rows are looking like here and the general feel of this. There's like everything in FarmSim, there's some wonkiness, but for the most part, it looks pretty good, and we're doing a good job. So I'm excited to start knocking these acres out. We don't have a lot of fields to spray here in this episode either, so I think this is going to be a fun job that we can get completely done in a single episode. And then now is going to be our time to set things up and get on a new GPS track. I probably should have done this before we started turning around in hindsight. I could have had a nice straight row based on the starting row, but we'll get everything lined up here and lock this in real quick. There we go. And yeah, we should be good to go. There's not a whole lot to manage with this setup. I have to say, spraying is one of those jobs that I like in moderation. I like it because we're going so fast. You get nice wide working widths so you can see your progress, and I enjoy that we're able to see the ground texture change. So you can mentally keep track of where you're at in the job and how far along in the field that you've gotten. I don't know, it's just one of those very relaxing jobs, and it's fast-paced enough that you don't get bored. You can kind of keep moving on things. There's something to do with turning around on the end rows, and then you run into things like this. So I think I'm going to pull straight through up to this, maybe not hit it, and we'll go all the way around. Let me think. We've got rows on the left and the right. It's interesting that the sprayer comes up right on the divide here. So we'll go around on the left-hand side here and take that through. Maybe we'll just go all the way around it. We'll get this out of the way. I'm going to tackle the whole thing now. That way I don't have to monkey with it on the next pass, because really it's the middle of it is this pass, so it'll be better if I take care of it now. And I'm just realizing as we're turning around here and getting all tippy, I don't have my wheels all widened out. My goodness, jumping out of the tractor. If I widen my stance out here, this thing is a lot less tippy, especially on these little hills when I'm turning and stuff. I can't believe I forgot about that. But yeah, this thing is handling a little bit better here now. I don't have to worry about my corners so much. And man, look at that. We are straddling quite a few rows now. I'm not going to bother shifting the GPS any on this because as we keep going back and forth down this field, I'm sure the rows are going to shift slightly here and there, and it's just not worth it. I know it's unrealistic to see the sprayer running down the crops the whole way down the field. But again, this is one of those farm sim things where I could spend all day trying to mess with it and get it lined up perfectly, and it's just not going to happen. Where if you take a look at it now, I seem to be running right where I should be, at least on the left-hand side of the track. On the right-hand side, I am kind of running things over. If we just rotate the view a little bit, it looks fine, right? No. But we're hitting this stuff. We're getting the crops sprayed, and I'm looking down at my herbicide meter here and noticing that we've barely used any spray, hitting multiple fields now. And we are going to probably use up enough to get that extra 100 gallons or so out of the storage units. But man, I kind of thought we'd go through more spray than we have. So we'll go ahead and tackle these last little bits on the corners, and I think I can just squeeze through here and hit this cornfield next that we're right next to here. This looks like it's wide enough for me to get the sprayer through. And maybe I will do the headland pass down by the water here first instead of the fence, just because I probably will have a little bit of back and forth rows. It looks like I'm going to have maybe 3 passes that I need to do in this field after I get the headland done. So this will leave me up in a nice corner to start doing the up and down rows if I tackle things this way. And yeah, this field's looking pretty good. Obviously still need to work on my headlands a bit, lifting up a little too early on all of those rows, all the fields that I planted manually at least. And let's see, I think if I just get over here, we should be good to go. I can back up into this bush a little bit, not too far. Well, let's tackle these rows real quick and see what else we've got going on the farm. All done. Get this thing folded up and run it back up to the farm here. I'm sure there's probably a few of you out there yelling at me that I've still got my wheels all out wide while I'm going down the road. We'll bring those in at the last moment here just to be realistic, and also to make sure we get down this narrow path here. It's not too wide, and I'm not sure if I need to even spray this field, but we're going to tackle it real quick. I can't tell always if there's weeds out here or not, so we'll hit it. It's small, and we have the spray to spare. Get this thing unfolded. It does take a little bit to unfold, unfortunately. I'm so impatient when it comes to folding and unfolding implements. At least it's not as slow as our planter. That thing is incredibly slow. And we only did 1 headland pass on this field as well. So I think we're just going to freehand this. Maybe I'll just do up-down rows, and I think we've got enough grass area to turn around without necessarily knocking out a headland. And we can see my crooked rows even on this field. It's just amazing to me. I didn't use GPS on any of the first rounds with my field, so all the rows are crooked everywhere. We'll have to definitely try and do better next season. Let's get turned around here, and like I said, we'll not bother with actually doing headlands. I'm just going to pull right into the next set of rows, and then I'm just going to have a little bit left on the corner over there to take care of. Now, I'm suddenly regretting decisions. This looks like a pretty big hill here. Well, not too bad. We'll get up here with the sprayer, and I missed just this little bit, so I'll back over that to make sure we've got it covered. And then just nab this corner real quick, and we're going to be all done with spraying for this season. This has gone a lot faster than I thought it would. Honestly, I was expecting spraying to eat up a little bit more time. This is probably going to be a relatively short episode because we're going to just fold this up. I think we're going to head back up to the farm. I got a couple things we're going to do here, but I'm really planning on saving the harvesting for next episode. I think we're going to jump into things and see how row crop ready harvesting is going to play out. I think the last thing I want to do is make sure that we get the rest of the herbicide out of these bins. I'm hoping that we've got enough capacity to take everything that's left. Let's find out. And hey, I was able to fill up from the right-hand side of the sprayer as well, so maybe this mod is working pretty good. I don't know. I've got to look into this. It's been driving me nuts. However, we've got all of it out of there. We're at 98% on the sprayer. I'm gonna just park this here for now. I'm gonna clean up the yard and get everything washed up before harvest off camera, and we'll be back next episode ready to do some harvesting here on Taheton County. There's not really anything else that we need to tackle this summer because we're not going to do any contracts. Hopefully you enjoyed the episode. If you did, hit that like button and let me know in the comments below what kind of things you'd like us to tackle in this series once we get past this first year. I'm pretty flexible to add new things to our farm. That's all for today. Kedrick out.